You are more than you are. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Midtown Atlanta. So glad you're here. I'm here to remind you that such is the nature of life, that all it asks and all it wants is the opportunity to appear. And you are that opportunity, and so am I, and so it is. And because we know that you are the opportunity for life to appear in a unique and special and wonderful way, we're here to celebrate you. We're here to celebrate the truth of you. We're here to celebrate the fact that you are unique and special, just like everybody else, and that you are whoever you are and whatever path you've walked, however you got here, whatever brought you to this point in your life. We are here to honor it and celebrate it, whatever your identifications with sex, race, ethnicities, all of those things. We are not a discriminating group in terms of looking at anything as less than or anyone. Instead, we celebrate you as an expression of the divine, and that expression is coming through with great beauty and poise and ease. To tell us a little more of tell you a little more of who we are, I would like to share with you our Declaration of Principles. This is based on the teachings of our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, and he actually wrote these in a pretty quick deal. So I'll read them to you, and you may feel free to please read along. I believe in one God, one absolute power, and first cause to all things. I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love. I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience. I believe in the unity of all life, the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of God to all. And so it is. Allow those ideas to sink in this week. Think about them. Decide if you believe any of that or none of that. But whether you do or not, you're welcome here and you're welcome with us. I find them as a great measure to look at how my life is going and where I am in that belief system. So at this point, we ask for a practitioner to come forward. We do this. A practitioner is someone who knows this teaching, who's trained in it, who has done the work and has been licensed by our organization, because they can use affirmative prayer for themselves and for you to affect change. So today, our practitioner is going to share with us some information and then lead us in a guided or a affirmative prayer. And today we have the wonderful Doug Moody. Take it away, Doug.
Thank you, and good morning. CSL Midtown Atlanta. Good morning, Dr. Bob Deen. It's a pleasure to be with you all here this morning, and happy spring. I think Friday was actually the first day of spring, and I love this because it fits so beautifully into the timing of the talks, especially this week. This message today with open arms is our theme, and just look around outside at what's going on. It's springtime. I don't know about you guys, but behind my house, I have this big patch of woods, and there is transformation going gangbusters. Just incredible. Like every single day when I wake up in the morning, there's something new. The other morning, my redbud tree was popping open, just blooming beautifully. And I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed that. The daffodils have been out for a couple of weeks now. And there's more and more like green appearing on the tree branches and the leaves. And I know that there's a lot of change in the works. And it's so beautiful that this ties in with our spirit and our talk today with open arms, because it talks about the heart of that is about personal transformation. And we're making personal transformations every day in all parts of our lives. And I want to share with you one that recently happened with me. And the funny thing about it was that it was totally unexpected. I had been working in commercial real estate for probably about 32 years, and specifically in the retail industry. And as we all know, the online retail scene has really been taking away a lot of sales from brick and mortar retail stores. And my business was structured such that I made money when people opened new brick and mortar stores. Well, you can imagine how that's been impacted especially the last year. But I started seeing signs of that coming in 2018, and I realized I needed to do something to have some kind of stable cash flow in. So I got a part-time job at REI. And it was a lot of fun because I'm an Eagle Scout and I love camping. I love outdoors and all that kind of stuff. But it was long hours and it was hard work, and it just wasn't very rewarding in terms of the monetary work in relation to the physical output. So by a whim, I applied for a job that was a lot closer to my house at a company called Ballard Designs, which is a national retailer of home furnishings and design services. And I just applied for a part-time sales job there. And I thought, gosh, this will be great. It's really close to my house. The building, they had just moved into a new location and a really beautiful new store that has a lot of glass windows, a lot of natural light. It's this big kind of lofty industrial warehouse that's been totally womped up. You'd think you were like in Soho, New York or something. And so I really loved the environment, and the people there were great. I interviewed and got the job, and that was in July of 2018. July of 2019. And since then, I just started knocking it out the ballpark in terms of my selling abilities and just working with people, and everybody that I was meeting in there was so friendly. But something started happening during that process that went beyond just sales. And it was that my managers recognized that I have this ability to be able to, I have a great eye for color and a great eye for pattern. I'm very visually oriented. And so it got to the point where if anybody needed help putting together, whether it be bedding linens or, fabrics for furnishings and stuff, they were coming to me as the part-time salesman for like advice on that. And one thing just kind of led to another. And before I knew it, within 6 months, I was actually promoted to a junior designer position the following January after being there just 6 months. And in that short period of time, I had generated sales as a part-time employee that accounted to about 10% of that store's gross income. And this is the showroom store for the company. So it was really interesting. And the fun thing about it for me is I was just having a blast and getting paid for it. It's stuff that I really love doing. But when I got promoted to the designer position, or when the junior designer position was offered to me, it kind of took on a different animal, and it really kind of made me stop and think. And I have to admit, I was a little bit afraid of it. And a lot of stuff from my past kind of came back from growing up in Southwest Louisiana, where if you weren't like a Duck Dynasty member, or, enjoyed eating boudin 24/7 or going to crawfish boils, you were a little different. I was a little different. I was a lot different. But I had to confront a lot of things, and, realizing that this whole design thing is just who and what I am. And it was just a real big challenge for me, because it also brought back a lot of memories of being bullied when I was in elementary school for taking piano lessons and kind of being a star in the band and all that kind of stuff, and for just being different. And but thank God for this teaching. It made me dig down deep inside and realize that this is who I am, and I just had to call upon divine wisdom, divine love, and right action and courage to guide me through this process. So I accepted the junior design position, and about 7 months later, I got promoted to a full-fledged designer and was offered benefits with the company. And it was a godsend, because all of that happened kind of right before the whole COVID shutdown. So I was very, very grateful, needless to say. And it's just been like nonstop fun and growth and transformation ever since. I'm having a blast and just like loving what I'm doing. And that's the main thing when we're facing these transitions in life, that we need to go in. We need to like look at our core. Socrates once said it very succinctly in his comment when he said, "Know thyself." And I think it's one thing to know thyself, but I think it's another thing to also call upon that divine wisdom and courage to guide you and to know that that's with you, supporting you 24/7, 2000% of the time. And I just had my review this past week from my manager. And of course, I had rated myself outstanding in my performance because I did deliver an outstanding performance in 2020, even with the shutdown, even with the store being closed for 2 months, even being in training for 2 other months. It was a stellar year, and my manager recognized that. And she told me, she rated me successful, and she shared with me that in her 20-year career as a manager, she has only given 3 outstanding ratings. And she said, Doug, you are so close. And I just kind of looked at her and I said, well, get ready, because I'm going to change your mind this year in 2021. I'm on. And it's just been great. So she said, I want you to know that you're the only person I know who's been in a job for a little over 1.5 years that's been promoted 3 times and has gotten 4 pay increases. So all of that, in addition to the joy that I have each morning of just knowing that I'm doing the right thing and going to work and having fun, it's just been an incredible transformation for me personally. Now, that same opportunity is also available for you. Ernest Holmes says that pure spirit exists at the center of all form. So you don't have to go be looking for anything outside of like where you are. You just have to stop, be still, be quiet, listen to that inner voice, and know you have everything you need already. And just call it forth and know that you are divinely supported in doing so. So now we're going to come to the point in time in our program where I'm going to lead you in a affirmative prayer. And I'm going to ask you to accept whatever resonates with you for yourself, and whatever doesn't, just let it flow over you and keep going. Get comfortable in your chair, uncross those legs and limbs, and get those arms open, and just know this together with me. There's only one power, one divine light, one infinite wisdom, one cosmic something operating throughout the universe and operating through me and each beautiful soul present right here, right now, and always. All I have to do is call it forward. I recognize this divine spirit and presence within me and each, and know that I and each are infinitely connected, an infinite outlet for good in the world. Therefore, I am one with this infinite creator. And each and every one is one with this infinite creator. As we call forth our highest and our best ideas into every aspect of our life and living. Today, I claim divine love, divine wisdom, divine right action, and divine courage for myself and for each person present, knowing that we are all divinely guided along our journey, along our path of transformation. In this beautiful season of growth, this springtime, I claim love and joy for each and every person. I claim courage in claiming whatever transformation is presenting itself before me and before each. I allow this divine wisdom to guide me and all along this path beautifully, successfully, and easily, knowing that I and each have everything within that we need to know. All the power, all the knowledge, all the wisdom, all the love. And the more I attune to this, the more I make the world a greater place for myself and for others around me. It all starts here, and it all starts within. Knowing this, I give great gratitude and joy and appreciation for the presence of spirit that guides me and each forward each and every day. I celebrate this idea, knowing that I am transforming into my highest and greatest idea of self, and it is wonderful. And knowing this, I release my word into the universal law, knowing it is done. I am complete, I am growing, and it is wonderful. And so are you. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you. And now we have music. I believe we are going to have a song called I Will Surrender by the wonderful Empower music artist, Faith Rivera.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free. As I continue walking in this mystery, I surrender to my greatest, highest good. I release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am kinder every moment, every day. I'm more loving every moment, every day. I surrender every moment, every day.
So if you've done any flying with the airport, on airplanes in the last few years, you probably had the experience I have, and that is if you return to the Atlanta airport, you come from the various areas, take all funnels into one escalator coming up into the main lobby at the terminal. And as you come up that lobby, up that escalator, and you walk in, the first thing you'll see in front of you is a USO booth. And usually there are people there. There are families around with holding up signs. There are tons of folks who are waiting to welcome home the soldiers who have come in on that particular flight or at that time. It's always a very emotional thing. You see them jumping up and down and arms out, excited and welcoming that soldier, female, male, whomever, and holding them and hugging them, and the big arms go out, and it's a very emotional thing for me. I always get choked up when I go by there. It's kind of my welcome home, and the emotion of it is just gratitude that they're being welcomed, gratitude that whether they've got a family member there or not, there is a group there that's welcoming them. And also gratitude that they're home safe if they've been in, and I, of course, have no idea where they've been before they show up there. It's a beautiful thing. It's that experience of the open arms that just so glad to have them. The other image that comes to my mind for open arms is the standard Christmas movie. Whether you like those Hallmark movies or not, that's up to you. But at the end of there's almost always at least one that has the kid, the young man, young woman who's trying to get home for Christmas and has all sorts of obstacles and all sorts of troubles, and they make it, just in time for Christmas Eve dinner or just in time for Christmas Day, and nobody's expecting them. And the door flies open and there they are, and it's snowing behind them, which was always a problem in Florida, but it's snowing behind them, and the music comes up and everyone runs to the door with open arms, and there's this great emotional surge of feeling and gratitude and welcome home, and that sense of, I'm home, that comes up with it. So as you're hearing that, imagine those open arms, that rush to the door is a welcome for you. It's a welcome inviting you, welcoming you, celebrating that you're home. And it's a welcome not for the pretend you. We all have that one of my teachers used to call that our United Nations version of ourselves, the one that we want to present to the world and get lots of credit for. But the real you, the you underneath that, the you that doesn't pretend, that isn't putting on a figuring out what's the right and best way to say something. It's a welcome. It's an open arm welcome for the you that's not carefully constructed in order to appear a certain way and be approved. It's the real you with the open arm welcome. That secret you that maybe only up until now you've known about, or that you begin to let more and more people know. Thank you for that story, Doug, because what my mind went to immediately is like the big open arm welcome to the designer you, regardless of all those other messages about who you should or shouldn't be. That joy that comes from designing and figuring out and looking and helping people do that and create wonderful, wonderful spaces for themselves. That's rich. It's the welcome with open arms for that real you. It's the you that is at its core, regardless of how you may have struggled, really just wants to love and be loved. It's the you that does that easily. It's that part of you that feels safe and wants to be safe as a full expression of you. It's the part of you that is enough and knows and knows and knows that it knows that you're enough. It's that part of you that feels that deep sense of gratitude for life itself, for that springtime that's bursting forth around us, for just breathing air and taking up space and being able to experience being alive. The arms are wide open and the welcome at the door is as big and strong for that. That's the person that we're looking to welcome. But here's the catch. Those open arms have to be your arms first. They have to be your arms saying, welcome home. I'm so glad to know you, to experience you, to express you. The you being the real you, the you that is inside of you, the you that you may tell yourself sometimes is wrong and shouldn't be or makes mistakes or is less than or ought to be this or ought to be that. That you that just gets all of your negative chatter trying to control it or shut it up or get it back into the box, which it's trying to get out of. No, instead, it's like welcoming that you that you are with open arms. And you're the one to do the welcoming. Others will too. But those welcomes won't mean nearly as much until you have that as well. It's kind of a both and sort of thing. So welcome home. Welcome home to fearlessly showing up. So keeping those open arms to yourself makes it possible to have open arms to the world. But there are some elements to that open arms. There are elements to to really saying yes to yourself and to who you are becoming and what you wish to become. And that yes has these three things. It's embracing, embodying, and becoming. That is really the process for growth. That is the process for spiritual growth, for life growth, for any kind of growth. It's embodying it, it's embracing it, embodying it, and welcoming it. And today we're going to focus on all three, because the open arms is about receiving. We're receiving you home. You're receiving yourself home. And that receiving is really kind of detailed in receiving ideas, receiving the notion that, hey, I really like this decorating thing. It's the receiving and embracing the possibilities and opportunities for growth. When the job first came open at home office for the spiritual, for the manager for the ministerial education programs and Holmes Institute and all of that, I thought, man, that would be exciting. With my education background, I would love to do that. I would love to come and bring it forward. And oh my gosh, it scares me to death. And I didn't even attempt or even pursue that at all, because I was happy where I was. I was doing the work I was there to do. And yet people started calling me from around the country saying, well, you know, that's you. That job description is you. And I decided to embrace the idea. Just embrace the idea that maybe I could do that. And maybe I had something to contribute, and maybe it would be important to do. And so I embraced it. I responded. I embodied it by interviewing, and then I became it. It flowed. It was rich and wonderful. You know, embracing begins with, it's about wrapping our arms around something, wrapping our head around the idea. If you've seen any of the movies in the last few years about coming out, you know that that's the whole coming out process for someone, is beginning to embrace the idea that this is who I am, and it may not fit anyone else's idea. And then beginning to experiment with it and find out that, yes, that's me, and then becoming that you, that new you, and the freedom and the joy and the excitement that comes when that inner self that has been shut down and held back is finally set free. And that's true whether you're coming out as a gay person, whether you're coming out as a rebel, whether you're coming out as a vegetarian, or any other designation that you think of yourself that you've shut down and held in because you think culture, society, someone else, your parents, whomever, might not want it or like it. Or you're afraid you can't earn a living doing it or being it. All of those fear things that kick in and get in our way. But when we embrace our deeper truth, not what we think we might be, but, well, sometimes it's what we think we might be, but it's also what we know somehow inside that keeps pushing to come forward and come out and be us, however and whatever that is. You may know absolutely that you are a deeply loving, caring person. You may be like me. When you see those guys and gals coming up and getting hugs at the airport, you get all choked up because you're so caring about what's going on there. But if you're also like me and a guy, and we don't do that, so you fight back the tears and don't let your feelings show and move right on, and miss out on the opportunity to really deeply experience that depth of caring. Embrace the idea that caring sometimes means our hearts overflow, and when our hearts overflow, our tears come to our eyes. And it's a good thing. And from embracing, then we move on to embodying. For the embracing is like receiving the ideas, receiving the goodness, receiving the truth of who we are, and getting our arms around it. Whereas embodiment is about bringing it into really a demonstration or an activity or a beingness in our lives. It goes beyond just understanding. I understand this is who I am, or I understand that I'm really a kinder, more loving person. It is going beyond that understanding into living with it, sitting with it, being with it until we begin to feel it. We begin to act on it. We find ourselves knowing this is who we are, or what we're becoming, or what life is about. And that may be as simple as a new idea, an idea that there's only one power, and I no longer have to look at the rights and the wrongs of things and who's right and who's wrong and attack the person on the wrong and defend the right so that so life can go forward. Maybe the newness I need to wrap my arms around is that there's only one power, one light, one life, and that all are doing the best they can to express that one, even when it looks very counter and very conflicted in that expression. And if I embrace that idea, I might find myself embodying the idea that I could really care for people on the other side of the aisle, or people who are looking to understand the world or see the world in a different way than I do. And if I embody that, I find myself asking them questions rather than running away from them or telling them how they're wrong. What if we just stop telling each other what's wrong with us, or what's wrong with the other one, or telling ourselves what's wrong with us? Would the world just go all helter-skelter and become chaotic and crazy? I don't think so. Because there is within us an organizing power of love and a power of caring for each other and for ourselves that would emerge if we just stop beating ourselves up about this stuff. So what if you embodied that image of yourself as a loving, caring person who is open and understanding and wants to hear? What if you embrace the idea that you're prosperous and that you're always cared for, no matter how it may appear at any given time? But that because you're part of an infinite universe that by its very nature is prosperous, you started to embody that idea, to embrace the idea first, and then embody it, so that you start seeing your prosperity all around you, instead of looking all the time at what's missing or what's not prosperous. What if we started looking at how prosperous we are? Here we are on the internet. Here we are talking to each other. Well, I'm talking, you're listening, all across the world. That's pretty amazing. What a prosperous life to be able to do this on whichever end of this spectrum you're doing right now. And in a few minutes, at the end of this, we come together on Zoom and we can talk back and forth to each other. That's huge. I'm embodying that idea by doing this. I embraced it whenever COVID hit. And then I began to embody it as we started doing this kind of work and finding it to be richly connecting and richly valuable. Speaking of COVID, one of the things that COVID has given us is an opportunity for a reset. It is a worldwide disruptive activity. When there's a disruption in your routine, when your routine of ideas and thoughts and your regular way of thinking and your regular feedback loops where you do a certain thing and you get a certain response, and then you do a certain thing and you get a response. You do life the way it's been doing and it all seems to be working, and then something comes along and disrupts that. Then you get to take a look at, is that what I really wanted, or am I just caught in the loop? And the last big worldwide disruption we had of this was 9/11. The whole world woke up in a way and saw the same thing and paid attention to the same thing at the same time. And it was a disruption. And I can tell you, I know many people who at that point in their lives, as a result of that, and partly a result of not feeling safe, but also as a result of deciding I want a different life than what I have been doing up until now, just routinely because that's what I was thinking I was supposed to do. Made life changes that were huge. People got married that hadn't been married and were happy not to be. People changed careers. Many people left the busyness of the city and rat race kinds of jobs and took off to the country and opened bed and breakfast and all sorts of alternative kinds of lives. And many people in those alternative lives headed to the city and joined the rat race because they saw they wanted to make a difference and a change at a different level and in a different way. But it was the disruption that opened the door for people to even consider getting out of that natural feedback loop that they were caught in or unconsciously participating in. Same thing has happened with COVID. COVID has given the whole world an opportunity to sit back and say, wow, now what? What do I really want? What really matters? I mean, when I first found out I was going to have to spend a lot of time alone and not be able to go out and hug people and do all that interactive, it was not a pleasant idea. And I spent some time adjusting to it. And then I began to discover that I really enjoyed my own company a lot more than I had ever given myself an opportunity to learn about. And I began to treasure and value that time alone, that quietness. I embraced the idea and then I embodied it by actually doing it and being it. Now we get the opportunity to think about something different. Do we want to go back? Do we want to how are we going to engage each other as we are beginning to have an increased freedom to do that? Do I want to go back to things the way they were? Or do I want to go to something new and different? Because I get to choose, I get to embrace what is really mine, what is true for me and what I want to have and be and express. And then I get to become it. I embrace it and I embody it. So don't be too quick to just automatically go to whatever was and whatever you thought was normal. Instead, think about what do I really want to embrace from my life before and bring into my life now and in the future. It's a pretty cool thing. And then there's the third element, the becoming. Becoming is kind of about allowing. Embracing, we bring something to us and we hold it. Embodying, we bring it into our experience and our lives to such a way that we demonstrate it. It becomes a part of what we're doing in the world and being in the world. Becoming is the next step and the next part. And that is allowing that which we already are and know ourselves to be, that true self that's welcomed with open arms, allowing it to become the dominant self, the dominant you, the part of you that lives day to day and walks around. The part of you that wants to be friendly actually starts being friendly and becoming friendly, and you're allowing yourself to do that. It's stepping beyond just manifesting something, but it's allowing that within you that is who you are at your core, who you are in truth, as you discover it to become forward. Because a lot of this stuff we've hidden from ourselves for so long, we've buried under layers of shoulds and oughts and nots and don'ts. Whereas having embraced it and embodied it, we can begin to just allow it to come forward. And it's amazing how this infinite intelligence in which we live will organize and sort and bring those things to us which we are absolutely ready for without doubt or question. It'll just pop up. It'll just be there, And that true vision of yourself gets stronger and clearer and stronger and clearer. And you begin to allow the valuable, the loving, the powerful person that you are to show up. And you'll know what to do and when to do it and how to do it. I sometimes try to push the river. I get an idea. I start embodying a new idea and I want to bring it into full manifestation. So I start pushing the river and trying to make it happen now. And I set up a schedule because after all, it's my life. I get to choose and I do. But sometimes that schedule is not a schedule that matches the becoming. I tend to get in a hurry with things, or I sometimes delay them too much, but it's more an idea of too much of a hurry. And so and realizing that I am the thing I want to become and that it's already alive and well. It's not like I'm creating something new for myself. It's not like I'm making something happen. It's a matter of allowing the reality that's already yours to come forward. And that sometimes is on a different time frame. I'm going to be traveling back to Mexico soon, and I had a schedule, man. I was going like a week and a half ago because I was going to get that move done, and I was going to go, and that was it. Well, that was too fast. Didn't happen. My soul, my heart said, you need to be settled more before you go anywhere. You're in a whole new place to live out here in Tucker. And then you're in the vicinity of your family, closer in a way to participate with them that you haven't been able to do before. It's a whole new exciting kind of thing because I'm a family person. I'm part of a family. I have been always. And to be now physically experiencing, expressing it, I am allowing it and I am becoming it. And it's moving at its own pace and its own schedule as it bubbles up from inside and as I get directed and guided. And so when the right time came and the right place, the right opportunity, the right date, all of that showed up, not by me pushing on it, but by it just showing up and becoming clear. I found the good price. It's all set. See, we make this all so difficult as we try to come up with the right thought. We push our intentions. We push our desires. We try to make things happen when in truth, it's all trying to happen already. We just have to relax and get out of the way and let it flow. Emerson talked about getting our bloated nothingness out of the way for the divine circuits to flow. And that's really what I'm talking about. Because as we embrace something, we embody it, and then we get out of the way because it's already in us, or we couldn't even recognize it as something good, as something to embrace. That's the irony and the truth. So we're embracing and embodying and becoming that depth, that great truth of who you are, that outward expression of that inward, beautiful, valuable, wonderful expression of the infinite, God itself, only wanting to be alive in you and as you, moving through you. And it's easy and it's wonderful. And this is what the kind of life you deserve and I deserve. And yeah, the fears and the stuff come up and we deal with those. But if we keep going back to allowing the truth of who we are to emerge, those fears will slowly dissipate. Because in truth, there's nothing to fear. Because in a world of oneness, there is nothing and no one against you. I want you to hear that again. In a world of oneness, there is nothing, no energy, no power, no other thing that can be against you. Not really. And that's a wonderful way to live. And you deserve it. You deserve it because you're here, because you're alive, because you're taking up space and air and real estate in the world, as you are ordained to do. You're wonderful. And so am I. So it is. Thank you. So now go with me for a moment into a brief, quiet meditation. As you turn inward, as you let your heart and mind relax into these ideas, embracing the possibility that there's so much more to you than you've yet imagined. And being willing to allow that embracing in such a way as to embody it and become it. So as you take a deep breath and you stand at that doorway, perhaps outside of the snow, and you're waiting for the door to open to welcome you home, imagine what ideas, what thoughts, what feelings, what beliefs, what careers, what relationships are opening the door and welcoming you with open arms. Welcoming you to your highest good, welcoming you to the truth of your love, welcoming you to recognize the prosperity that is already flowing through you in order for it to grow and expand. Imagine this welcoming happening, perhaps for some aspect or choice that you set aside in the past. It is really where you want to be today. Welcoming you where you are today, how you're being today. And so in this space of openness and embracing, open arms, we embrace the idea that there is only one power, and that only means it's enough. There is no other power, nothing working against it. Everything that is, ever has been, or ever will be, is created in the space of that one power, in the stuff of the one power. It is the stuff, it is the ideas, it is the energy of everything that is. From planets to mosquitoes. It's all there is, and we are part of it. We are an expression of it. And therefore, we are immersed together in the same unified field of energy and information. So as we are in this oneness, in this place of full embodiment of that truth, we embrace it and we accept and allow ourselves to embody and to bring forward the idea of everything is for us and nothing against us. And we make a commitment and a choice today to become that, to become the person who lives from that place, to become the person who lives from the idea of freedom and success and joy and ease, and releasing any notions or ideas of lack, limitation, other powers being against us or limiting us or holding us back from being the truth of our own person and personalities. Allowing that deep soul that we know ourselves to be to emerge onto the surface and be recognized and seen by others. Knowing that in that process, through the great law of attraction, we bring to us those people, those opportunities, and those experiences that allow us to fulfill the embodiment and the becoming of who we are, of our true selves. In my commitment to be and to become and to live on an unfolding path of that experience and expression, I am in deep gratitude for all of the resources around me, within me, that are supporting me in that direction. I am in a deep place of joy. I'm in a deep place of gratitude. And in that place, I know this is the truth for me. And I release this treatment now, letting it be, because it is now my truth, and I look forward to watching it unfold as I walk it out in my life. And if you're in agreement, say with me, and so it is. So grateful you're with us today. I invite you to hear now from one of our board members, Vance Blue, as he shares with us some announcements and some information about supporting this ministry. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Bob. That was an awesome talk on letting go of limitations and being open to change. And what's coming is exciting. We've got the opportunity for giving, which will show up on the screen in a second, the affirmation for that. But coming into this year. We're already in the first quarter. Spring has sprung, and I know for a lot of people, it's a new opportunity for growth this year. And for me, it's one of re-examining where I am with my tithing, my giving to different organizations as things are exploding. And this year is a really good year. And I have been supporting the center since it began and am continuing to do that. And I know a lot of you are as well. So with that, let's go into our affirmation of prosperity. And say this with me. You're all muted, so we can say it together. So, as I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. And there's multiple ways to donate, but the easiest way is to go to cslmidtown.org/donate. And on that page, there is the way to give. You can send in a check or through PayPal. So we've got several ways to give, but the online on the website through the Realm program is the easiest way. You can set that up if you haven't already for a ongoing monthly or one-time contributions as well. And so we've got some announcements coming up. So right after the service, well, let's start with next week, where March's theme is Open to Possibilities. And next Sunday, March 28th, we have a guest speaker, Reverend Elijah Christopher. I didn't put the Elijah part in there for his name, but you'll get to see him next week. His talk is Commit to Transformation. And it should be interesting. He's a fairly young minister, so we're excited to that. Today, right after this, jump on Zoom if you're on another platform, if you're on Facebook or on YouTube. Check out the Zoom. It is Zoom's 404-996-1302, and the passcode is 64250. And join us for our annual meeting, which is today. So right after the end of the service, we're going to hop over there and go through that meeting. And so on Tuesdays, we've got the spiritual empowerment sessions from 12 to 12:30. Join us for those. It's a midweek uplift during the day. On Wednesdays, Dr. Bob is doing a series. This will be the second one. Last week's on visioning. We started, and each one of these is a standalone. You can come to any one or all of them from 7 to 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. This week, it's going to be visioning the preparation, right? Typo. And if you're on Facebook or you see YouTube, come. You can see that. Share our information on Facebook to share this message out further. If you're seeing it on YouTube, click subscribe to that channel so we can increase our subscriptions. Sunday mornings before the service at 10 a.m., there's an awesome group that gets together and talks about, they're working on the 365 Science of Mind, A Year of Daily Wisdom by Ernest Holmes, which is an awesome book. I read that daily as part of my spiritual practice. And it's just a group of people coming together to discuss what they learned that week, and you don't have to have read, you can just come. And if you've got something going on in your life, and like Doug said in his talk part, there are practitioners there to help you through whatever you're going through. And if you can reach out to them on the website, and if you want to be a little more anonymous with that, go and do the prayer request. So that's what I've got, and I'm going to turn it back to Dr. Bob.
Thank you, Vance. So here we go. We are at the end. I would like to just put another plug in for our meeting after this one on Zoom. If you're a regular attendee at this group, whether you're in town or not, please come over to the Zoom meeting and join us so that you can find out the plans for the future, how we're doing so far in our world and going forward. But especially those of you out of town, we want you to know that you are very welcome and we consider you a part of us. So join us if you will. And in closing, I would like to remind you, as I leave this place now, knowing something better than I knew before, I go forth into the world with a heart full of love and a mind full of good sense. I look at the world in a greater way. I already said that. Yes. I look at the world in a greater way, knowing that I have within me everything I need to create the life I desire. I give thanks for this understanding. I am grateful for the spirit of life that moves through me. And so it is. Thank you for being with us today.